Hello and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's begin with the day's top stories. Budget session of Parliament to start with President's address from 31st January, session to continue till 3rd of April. General budget to be presented on the 1st of February. India has an important role in reducing tensions in the Gulf region, says Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. On the second day of the ongoing RAISINA dialogue, External Affairs Minister S. Shankar asserts that India is firmly focused on dealing with terror. Russia supports India's claim of permanent membership of the UN Security Council. Scrapping Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir has dented Pakistan's proxy war, says Army Chief General Narvane. On Army Day, President, Vice President and the Prime Minister pay homage to the sacrifice of soldiers and their families in the service of the nation. Skill India program will resolve India's employment issues, says Home Minister Amit Shah. Also lays foundation stone of Indian Institute of Skills in Gandhinagar, asserts that while the Congress took 70 long years to make the country a $2 trillion economy, India will achieve $5 trillion target by 2024. And wanted in several terrorist incidents, top Hizbul Mujahideen commander killed by security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district. Huge quantity of weapons recovered from the site of encounter. The budget session of Parliament will begin on 31st January and continue till the 3rd of April. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union budget on 1st February. The first phase of the budget session will extend from 31st January to 11th February, while the second one will be from 2nd March to 3rd of April. The session will hold a total of 31 sittings. On the second day of the ongoing global conference, RAISINA dialogue in New Delhi, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov strongly backed India's bid for a permanent membership in the UN Security Council. He asserted that New Delhi was among the new centers of global influence.
Only deficiency of the Security Council is under-representation of the developing countries. And we repeatedly reiterated our position that India and Brazil absolutely deserve to be on the Council together with an African candidate. And our position is that the purpose of the reform is to make sure that the developing countries have a better treatment in the central organ of the United Nations.
In his address, External Affairs Minister S. Shankar called terrorism a global challenge which India is dealing with effectively. On the ties with China, the minister said it was vital for neighbors to reach an understanding on crucial issues, adding that it was necessary that both countries find equilibrium.
The India-China relationship, I think, has a very unique characteristic, which is that very rarely in history have two powers who are neighbors actually gone up in the international order in approximately the same time frame. So each one of the countries is sort of reaching a new equilibrium with the world, but also with each other at the same time. It's, to my mind, absolutely necessary that the two countries find an equilibrium and find accommodation and understanding on the key issues which affect each other.
Addressing the RAISINA dialogue, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said India can play a key role in de-escalating tensions in the Gulf region. His remarks come amid tensions between the United States and Iran over the killing of Iranian General, Major General Qasem Soleimani. Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid also urged the countries to jointly deal with the challenge of climate change in a meaningful way.
When they assassinated a revered general in Iraq, violating Iraqi sovereignty, they thought, as Secretary Pompeo tweeted, that people would be dancing in the streets of Tehran and Baghdad. Now you've seen the reaction, not just in Iran. There were spontaneous demonstrations and meetings to commemorate General Soleimani. You cannot bring 9 million people to the streets with force. So the United States needs to think again about our region. They're making mistake.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday met Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif separately, both of whom have come here to participate in the RAISINA dialogue. During his meeting with the Iranian Foreign Minister, Prime Minister Modi discussed the situation in the Gulf. They also discussed bilateral relations between both countries. Prime Minister Modi reiterated his commitment to enhancing ties with Iran. Prime Minister Modi and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov also reviewed bilateral cooperation between both countries. Lavrov also apprised the Russian Prime Minister's stand on important global and regional issues. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met other visiting foreign ministers who are taking part in the RAISINA dialogue, along with the National Security Advisor of Afghanistan, Hamdullah Mohib. And in some other news, Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Wednesday laid the foundation stone for the Indian Institute of Skills in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. The Home Minister called skill development of the country's youth the top priority of the government. He also called the Skill India program a solution to the country's unemployment problem in the coming days.
देश में परिवर्तन हुआ, नरेंद्र भाई देश के प्रधानमंत्री बने और प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद सबसे पहला काम उन्होंने स्किल डेवलपमेंट के लिए एक अलग विभाग बनाकर, एक नया विभाग की रचना कर भारत सरकार में इसको द्रुत गति से स्पीड के साथ आगे ले जाने की शुरुआत की। ये स्किल इंडिया का कार्यक्रम आने वाले दिनों के अंदर देश की रोजगारी का समाधान का एक राजमार्ग बनने वाला है, जो नरेंद्र मोदी ये रास्ता ही हमें युवा को रोजगार की दिशा में आगे ले जाएगा।
The minister also expressed confidence that India will become a $5 trillion economy by 2024, terming it an achievable target.
70 साल की आजादी के बाद के 70 साल तक इस देश की इकोनॉमी को अब $2 ट्रिलियन तक लेके $2 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी बनाया और नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने $2 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी को एक 5 साल के अंदर $3 ट्रिलियन की बनाने का काम। एक और 70 साल में $2 ट्रिलियन की इंडस्ट्री बनी, हमारी इकोनॉमी बनी और एक 5 साल के अंदर इसके अंदर 50% का इजाफा कर $3 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी बनी। और आज मैं फिर से एक बार इतने सारे युवाओं के बीच में इस मंच से कहना चाहता हूं कि 2024 में हम $5 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी बनकर देश दुनिया के सबसे बड़े अर्थतंत्र के बीच में हैं।
Well, the 72nd Army Day was celebrated across the country on Wednesday. The Army showcased its military might and some of its state-of-the-art assets at the majestic Army Day parade in the national capital. In his address, Army Chief General Narvane said, the armed forces have a zero tolerance against terrorism. He also described the abrogation of Article 370 as a historic step that had disrupted plans of the Western neighbor and its proxies.
धारा 370 को हटाना एक ऐतिहासिक कदम है जो जम्मू और कश्मीर को राष्ट्रीय मुख्य धारा में जोड़ने के लिए महत्वपूर्ण साबित होगा। इस फैसले ने पश्चिमी पड़ोसी और उसके प्रॉक्सीज की योजना को बाधित कर दिया है। आतंक के प्रति हमारा पॉलिसी जीरो टॉलरेंस का है। आतंकवाद को बढ़ावा देने वाले देश के खिलाफ आतंक करने वालों को जवाब देने के लिए हमारे पास अनेक विकल्प हैं जिनका इस्तेमाल करने में हम नहीं हिचकिचाएंगे। इस साल भी कुछ ऐसे वेपन सिस्टम और इक्विपमेंट जो उपलब्ध कराए जाएंगे उनमें AK-203 राइफल्स, शारंग गन सिस्टम और मीडियम रेंज सरफेस टू एयर मिसाइल्स शामिल है। आप निश्चित रहें कि सरकार आपकी जंगी ज़रूरतों को हर हाल में पूरा करेगी।
The Army Day Parade 2020 also achieved a special distinction when a woman Indian Army officer, Captain Tanya SHERGILL, led an all-men parade in the national capital. The contingent marches smartly. The confidence of its members unmistakable. Strikingly led by Captain Tanya SHERGILL, the first woman officer and parade adjutant on Army Day 2020.
Standing straight, eyes forward, chest out, knees straight but not blocked. On the display is enviable dexterity.
Captain Tanya SHERGILL of Corps of Signals will always be the person who broke the glass ceiling when she becomes the woman parade adjutant for Republic Day. A fourth-generation Army officer, Captain Tanya praises her organization for giving her the opportunity.
We start practicing a few months before the main event in our respective regimental centers. It requires daily practice from morning till evening to ensure that the troops are coordinated. We are coordinated with our troops and we move as a single body.
A parade adjutant is responsible for leading the parade. Commissioned in March 2017, SHERGILL passed out from the Officer Training Academy, Chennai, as an electronics and communications graduate. In last year's Republic Day parade, Captain Bhavna Kasturi was the first woman officer to lead an all-men contingent. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV. In some other news, Hizbul Mujahideen commander Harun Abbas was killed in an encounter with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district on Wednesday. The terrorist was trapped in a joint operation of Jammu and Kashmir Police and the Army in Tantna area. Security forces recovered an AK-47 rifle, 3 magazines, 73 rounds, a Chinese grenade, and also a radio set from the encounter site.
इस ऑपरेशन में बहुत खूंखार तरह का आतंकी जो है वो मारा गया है। हारून अब्बास जो घाट डोडा का रहने वाला था। हारून अब्बास ऐसा टेररिस्ट था जो उसामा के साथ मिलकर के जो पूरा चनाब वैली का खित्ता जिसमें डोडा, किश्तवाड़, बटोट रामबन ये सारी बेल्ट आती इसमें मिल्टन सी को फिर से जिंदा करने की कोशिश में था।
Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir DGP Dilbag Singh said the Jammu and Kashmir police officer Davinder Singh had been suspended because of his involvement in terrorist activities. He also clarified that the Ministry of Home Affairs had not given any gallantry award to Davinder Singh.
पहले तो मैं बता दूं कि उसका सस्पेंशन इस कार्रवाई जिसमें वो मुलव्वस था उसकी वजह से हो चुका है। After that, his sacking is also being recommended and government would take a call on that. और इसके साथ साथ जो पहले मैंने कल बताया था कि उसको गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, MHA, प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से किसी तरह का कोई गैलेंट्री या मेरिटोरियस मेडल नहीं मिला है।
Time for a short break, but more news and updates will continue on the other side. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight. The Delhi High Court on Wednesday dismissed the mercy petition filed by Mukesh, one of the 4 convicts on death row in the NIRBHAYA case. Declining to entertain the petition, a 2-judge bench said there was no error in the trial court's January 7 order issuing death warrants against Mukesh. Meanwhile, the Delhi government told the High Court that execution of the death row convicts in the NIRBHAYA gang rape case will not take place on 22nd January in view of the mercy petition filed in court. The Delhi government also recommended that Mukesh's mercy plea in the Sessions Court be rejected and sent a communication in this regard to the Lieutenant Governor. The India Meteorological Department celebrated its 145th Foundation Day on Wednesday. Addressing the gathering, Dr. M. Rajivan, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, said India's weather forecast system has improved significantly due to investments by IMD in observation systems related to forecasting. Rajivan informed that the Met Department is using the latest technology, radars and computers at weather forecast centers to disseminate more accurate data.
Mainly because we invested in 2-3 items. One is improving observational systems and improving models. We have adopted models from US and UK, but then we have fine-tuned it for our own region. And a lot of data is going into the models now. And we have acquired a very big computer. So because computer is very important for running models. And so we are able to run the model at very high resolution compared to other countries. And also we invested in training our people, IMD people. We have sent a lot of people abroad for training and they got experience and came back and did a lot of good work for us. So IMD is on the right track. And okay, next few years, if this momentum is kept or if we can oscillate further, IMD will do a much better job for the country.
Cold wave conditions continue unabated in several parts of North India. Snowfall continued in the Kashmir Valley for the 4th day in a row on Wednesday. Flight operations also remained disrupted at Srinagar Airport due to a slippery runway. Dense fog across Jammu region also hit flight operations to and from the Jammu airport. In Himachal Pradesh, tourist hotspots Kufri, Manali and Dalhousie recorded sub-zero temperatures, while Kelong was the coldest at -5 degrees Celsius. The minimum temperature in Shimla was recorded at 1.3 degrees Celsius. There was light to moderate rain in several areas, including in Manali, Dharamshala, Dalhousie, Shimla and Kangra. In Uttarakhand, several places received moderate to heavy rainfall along with snowfall. The weather agency has issued warning of heavy snowfall in different parts of the state on Thursday as well as Friday. Heavy snowfall is also likely to occur at isolated places in the higher reaches of Chamoli, Pithoragarh, Rudraprayag and also Uttarkashi districts on 16th and 17th of January. Meanwhile, the minimum temperature in the national capital dropped on Wednesday due to northwesterly winds from the hills. The city recorded a low of 6.4 degrees Celsius, over 4 notches less than that recorded on Tuesday. The maximum temperature was recorded at 19.9 degrees Celsius. The India Meteorological Department has predicted moderate rains coupled with thunderstorm or even hailstorm on Thursday. And let's now talk about environment and climate change. In order to combat the 6th mass extinction in Earth's history, a proposal by the United Nations sets 2030 as the deadline for conservation and restoration of ecosystems and wildlife that perform crucial services for humans. The draft by the UN Convention on Biological Diversity is expected to be adopted by governments in October at a UN summit in Kunming, China. Calling for commitment to protect at least 30% of the planet, the 20-point draft plan, which is based on the lines of the 2015 Paris Agreement, aims to introduce controls on invasive species and also reduce pollution from plastic waste and excess nutrients by 50%. It also aims to promote full and effective participation of indigenous peoples and local communities in decision-making about biodiversity. The plan agreement forms part of a long-term international framework that aims to ensure biodiversity is sustainably valued and conserved by 2050. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.